Hi everyone, this is Ants. Today I'm going to show you a new node for compatibility renderer that it will be available in plugin format so that you could use it on your own projects. That will allow you to have Decal-like functionality on your web and basically compatibility mode builds. As you know, there is Decal that's built into Godot, but it's only supported in Forward Plus and mobile renderers. So if you need to have a Decal for the web or compatibility mode, you have to basically create your own kind of solution. And there's solutions out there that just use a shader, but whenever you change the size of something, you have to update the shader, and it gets pretty cumbersome fairly quickly. Also, a lot of the shaders don't have all the functionality, such as fade. And so let's get started with my plugin. Okay, so as you can see here, I have some sort of like slime or growth on the geometry of the floor. And I'm projecting it on the floor right now, and let's see how's it going. And that looks pretty good. It's going not only up but also around the protrusions, or like it's going around, which is pretty nice, right? And it's fading, right? So that's pretty good. And let's turn off the fade and see what's going on. Yeah, that's good, right? And let's change the fade power. Oh, you could change the kind of like the power of the fade. That's cool. So yeah, here is it in a nutshell, but there's a lot of different use cases. So first of all, limitations. So my version right now doesn't support normals, roughness, metallic, emission strength. It doesn't support curves for upper fade and lower fade. Distance I've supported, so let's go with the distance. So here's my my distance test. So as you can see, because I extended Mesh Instance 3D, which inherits Geometry Instance 3D, you have access to the visibility range over here. So you could do anything you want with that visibility range there. And it's important because you might be hiding other geometry, and you should also be hiding any decals that are projected on that. Okay, so yeah. So why else use decals? One of the biggest reasons to use decals is for bullet holes, right? So how do you cheaply just add bullet holes to an existing wall or geometry, right? The best way to do it is just use decals. And I'm going to show you how to rotate the decal so that it projects it onto a wall, right? The transparency is fully enabled, right? So my Godot on a box here, and as you can see, I change the transparency, right? So you could see through the original material. You could also use albedo mix, how much you mix them, right? With these two things, you could actually make things look good, and I disabled fade because I didn't want that, right? So that's good, right? And also I put this decal here behind the shadows, so the decals will receive shadows, but it will not project shadows, right? So remember that. I don't think decal should ever project shadows. Like, think about it. You should just use a Mesh Instance 3D and shade it to project the shadow, right? Yeah, so that's kind of like the nutshell, but let's just, this is more of the tutorial. Like, how do I do it? You know, like, I don't know how to use this. How do I make it work, right? So let's create one from scratch. Okay, So first of all, you have to make sure the plugin is enabled. And again, the repo will be available sometime after this video is published, because I have to do documentation of just not only the code, but also the GitHub README and the Markdown. So let's create a new one, right? So add a child node, type in Decal, and you'll see the original Decal, right? And then you'll see my new one, which is inherits the mesh instance 3D, right? And we'll create, and let's call this my Godot Decal, all right? And once you create that, you're gonna have an exclamation point all the time because you haven't set any albedo texture, right? And so you need to put a texture there. So let's put the Godot icon in here, and boom, it's over here, and it showed up over here. And vertical fade is automatically enabled. I may change that, I don't know. So let's turn that off. And now, so one thing I want to do is I want to rotate. So how do you rotate the picture? Oh, you just have to rotate the entire box, right? So let's just do that 180, and there you go. And let's see how it works, right? So why is it disappearing here? And the reason why it's disappearing is it has to intersect the geometry of the floor for it to work. So now, right? There you go. So I want to make this a little bit more transparent. So on the parameters, let's just reduce, no, that's too much. Right, and maybe reduce the alpha here. So there's two ways of doing that, and that's it. Okay. Okay, so that's how easy it was. It's actually quite easy. One of the things on, oh yeah, so why else use decals? You could actually project tattoos on 3D models. So if you have a dude or a dudette or whatever, and you want to project a scar or you want to project a tattoo, this is great to do this because it goes around the mesh, and you could put, so easy, put a tattoo. You could put stuff on the floor like dirt or skid marks. I mean, the possibilities are limitless. You could put flags on a plane or a ship. You could put like your country's flag. Very easy, super easy. You could put billboards like, you know, turn here on the geometry, and it will go around the geometry, and it will actually look cool. And they're like, holy shit, this is cool. But anyways, what other reasons? But in terms of the bullet holes, there is something that you need to do to make the bullet holes work. So we're going to do a bullet hole, and hopefully I get the angle correct if I remember correctly. So we're going to add a new decal, and we're going to call it my new bullet hole. And I spelled it wrong. All right, so we have to put the texture. Again, I get an error here. It really helps you, and it says, how do I use this? You just drag the texture there. And as you can see, now there's a bullet hole on the ground here. It's a bit too big, so I'm going to change the size. Right, and where'd it go? Well, it's not touching anything. So how do I put it against the wall? Right, so let's put it against the wall, and it's not working. And the reason why it's working is you need to rotate this to the normal of the wall. So you have to go 90, and now and get rid of fade. Again, maybe I should disable fade as a default, and now you have a bullet hole. Okay, so that is something you need to do as a developer, is you need to change the rotation of the decal to match the rotate, like basically the normal of the wall, right? Because if we try to put it on a weird geometry, it won't work. So let's move the slime on the floor. All right, let's move it, and let's go back to my new bullet hole. right? And we go here. And that's all right. Right. As you can see, it's not perfect, right? And it's clipping, so that's not correct. So you would have to find out the actual rotation of this, and maybe it's 33. Yeah, it's 33, I think. So as you can see, now it's 33, and that's perfect. That's not bad, right? So what I'm trying to get at is, if things are not looking good on all that, it's because your rotation, right, is not correct. So that bullet hole is pretty solid there. That's cool. Okay, so yeah, so that's basically it. Yeah, so where to get this eventually? All right, so it will eventually be here. Ants Games, Godot, Compatibility, Decal node. As you can see, I haven't documented anything. This the shader I used was based on Leilu shaders, which is based on 2 other shaders, but there's some issues with this shader. So this depth, I think you have to times 2 + 1 on this. You have to do +1 or -1, but this is incorrect. Also, this is also incorrect here. Anyways, I fixed it because you have to actually multiply it by the scale and then add 0.5. But anyways, that's another thing. But anyways, what I'm trying to get at is there's a lot of Decal shaders here, but some of them don't have fade, and some of them have transparency. Some of them don't work in 4.4. Like there's a lot of older stuff there. Leilu's version has a clipping issue. If you actually go inside the box of your Decal, then it's going to clip. But anyways, regardless, I'll have this available in a GitHub repo, and hopefully you enjoy it. I'm going to use it for my own projects because I have one project that is Forward Plus that I want to convert to HTML, and it uses Decal, so this will be my replacement. So yeah, so that's basically it. I hope you enjoyed it, and let's go to my slime on the floor and actually move things around, and that's basically it, folks. Hopefully you enjoyed that, and we're going to end up with it working on the browser. And as you can see, it's working under the browser. Thanks for watching. Take care.